Hi, in this episode we will discuss Ibn Arabi's ontology concerning the single substance of all entities. If you enjoy this video, please like and share, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you are interested in Ibn Arabi's views. You can also help me out monetarily through PayPal or Patreon or super thanks on YouTube or join membership. In the chapter of the Bezels of the wisdom in the essence of Luqman, Ibn Arabi writes,
Quote, God is the all-subtle, owing to his grace and subtlety regarding the thing that is so named and so defined. He is its essence, immanent in every particular thing which is determined as such and such by a particular name, so that of this thing it is said about it only what its name indicates through agreement and usage. Thus, one speaks of the heaven, the earth, the rock, the tree, the animal, the angel, the sustenance, and the food. But the essence itself that exists in every one of these things is simply one.
In that specific passage, the pivotal term is the divine name referred to as Latif, meaning qualities such as subtle, delicate, and thin. Latif stands in contrast to Kathif, which implies the qualities of things being dense, thick, and coarse, indicating a dense materiality. As the antonym, Latif denotes the qualities of entities whose material essence is extremely rarefied, allowing them to permeate other substances, diffuse within them, and seamlessly blend.
Quote, the essence of everything and in everything is one, just as the Ash'arites said that the whole world takes the form of one substance, which is the core of our view, that the essence is one. Then the Ash'arites said that each thing varies by its accidents. This is also our view that things are different and multiply through forms and relationships, so that they are distinct from each other. And so one may say this thing is different from that thing with respect to its form or accident or temperament. You may say whatever you wish, yet this is the same thing as that with respect to its substance. For this reason, the same substance exists in each form and temperament. However, we say that substance is in fact al-haqq. But the speculative thinker assumes that what is named substance, even though it is real, is not identified with the reality of al-haqq, of which the people of revelation and self-manifestation speak. This is the wisdom of his being the all-subtle.
While acknowledging a certain alignment between his ontological perspective and the Ash'arites' ontology, Ibn Arabi underscores also a fundamental distinction between the two philosophical schools.
Unlike Ibn Arabi, the Ash'arites, although affirming the unity of the substance in all worldly forms, also maintain a dualistic stance, asserting that the essence of the substance pervading the world is distinct from al-haqq. In Ibn Arabi's framework, the divine name Latif, or subtle, carries a specific connotation, portraying al-haqq as a substance, jawhar, that is immaterial and imperceptible, permeating and suffusing the entire realm of wujud, being, akin to how color permeates substances. That substance courses through everything, constituting its true reality. While each entity bears different names, differentiating one from another, those differences are deemed accidental. From the perspective of the unseen substance permeating the entire world, all things are fundamentally one and the same. Then Ibn Arabi continues,
Quote, then he, Luqman, described God as the all-knowing, Khabir, meaning knowing through experience, iktibar, or putting something to the test. As God said, and we shall test you in order to know, and this, then, is knowledge through experience. In spite of his knowledge of things as they really are, God made himself acquire knowledge. We are incapable of denying what al-haqq determined about himself, for he distinguished between experiential knowledge and unrestricted knowledge, because the former is limited by the human faculties. He said of himself that he is the essence of his servant's faculties when he said, "I am his hearing," which is one of the servant's faculties, as well as his seeing, and his tongue, foot, and hand, which are the servant's organs. In his definition of the human being, he did not limit himself to the faculties alone, but also mentioned the human organs, for the servant is nothing but organs and faculties. Thus, the essence of what is named the servant is al-haqq. This does not imply the identification of the servant with the master, because the relationships between the servant and God's names are differentiated on account of themselves, while the essence to which they refer is not differentiated, because in all relationships only his essence exists. This one essence alone combines all relationships, references, and attributes.
The full Quranic verse in question is actually, "O my son, if it be but the weight of a mustard seed, be it in a rock in the heavens or on the earth, God will bring it forth. Truly, God is the all-subtle, the all-aware."
After stating that God is Latif, the Quran promptly asserts that God is Khabir, meaning that God possesses all information about everything.
While Latif pertains to the connection of al-haqq with external entities in the whole cosmos, Khabir refers to the relationship of al-haqq with the interiority of beings endowed with consciousness. Al-haqq, in essence, not only permeates all external entities in the whole cosmos, but also courses through the inner realms of conscious beings, constituting the intrinsic reality of conscious activity. Due to the fact that al-haqq is all-knowing and his knowledge is eternal, so his knowledge encompasses all things without exception from the very beginning. However, alongside this eternal knowledge, al-haqq also delves into the innermost aspects of each conscious being, and al-haqq knows all through the specific cognitive faculties inherent to those beings. And when viewed from the human perspective, it becomes apparent that everything one contemplates, observes, or hears is essentially known by al-haqq residing within. Al-haqq knows all things through one's sensory organs. Ibn Arabi refers to this form of al-haqq's knowledge as experiential knowledge. In Ibn Arabi's interpretation, the Quranic verse, "And we shall test you in order to know," specifically alludes to this form of al-haqq's knowledge. Without this experiential knowledge, the statement "in order to know" would be rendered meaningless, as al-haqq inherently possesses unrestricted knowledge from the outset. The Quranic verse in question gains significance when understood in the context of experiential knowledge, emphasizing the testing and experiential knowledge that unfolds through personal experience. Experiential knowledge, being inherently temporal, possesses a distinctive feature. It necessitates an organ of cognition for its acquisition. Given that God has absolutely no organs, this cognition operates through the organs of beings. However, according to the principle of Latifa, it is important to recognize that the things outwardly appearing as human organs are essentially various physical forms assumed by al-haqq itself. In other words, the apparent organs through which experiential knowledge is obtained are fundamentally diverse manifestations of al-haqq.
It's always important to remember that the core foundation of all possible things is non-existence, inasmuch as existence or wujud itself is al-haqq's form.
If al-haqq did not reveal his form, the whole cosmos would persist in a state of absolute non-existence. In this context, al-haqq permeates and courses through all aspects of existence. Al-haqq exists within every entity in the whole cosmos, in accordance with the intrinsic nature of each entity, or its preparedness to manifest. Without this pervasive infusion of al-haqq's form into all entities, the whole cosmos would be non-existence.
Quote, "If al-haqq did not pervade the existence through his form, the cosmos would not exist. Likewise, if the universal intelligible realities did not exist, the concrete existence would not be determined.
Ibn Arabi continues by drawing a parallel between the fundamental dependence of the existence of the whole cosmos on the existence of al-haqq and the dependencies of particular properties on universal intelligible realities, such as knowledge in itself or life in itself. To illustrate further, the presence of knowledge in an individual like John, for instance, is dependent upon the existence of universal knowledge. If universal knowledge did not exist, there would be no John as knower in the cosmos, and the property of being a knower would have no rightful attribution. In a similar vein, every existent relies on the mawjud of al-haqq, representing the face or form of al-haqq. Without the existence of al-haqq, nothing in the cosmos would have existence, and existence would also find no predication. In this manner, according to Ibn Arabi, nothing can truly be labeled as an existent unless it is infused with the form of al-haqq. Consequently, all entities fundamentally need al-haqq. This necessity is inherent at the very essence of every existence, representing an inner and essential dependence that Ibn Arabi terms as essential need or poverty, iftikar. On the flip side, al-haqq cannot manifest himself on the level of the divine names and attributes without the whole cosmos. In this sense, al-haqq undeniably requires creatures. Hence, the relationship of iftikar or essential need is reciprocal. The dependence of the whole cosmos on al-haqq is in terms of its existence, while the dependence of al-haqq on the whole cosmos pertains to the self-manifestation or appearance of al-haqq.
Quote, "We give him what is manifested in us through him, and he gives us. The whole matter, wujud, is divided between him and us, namely, our giving him appearance, and his giving us existence."
Indeed, Ibn Arabi boldly and vividly articulates this unique relationship between al-haqq and the whole cosmos by employing the metaphor of food. According to his bold perspective, the divine names and attributes come to actuality through the existence of creatures. In this metaphorical framework, creatures act as the nourishment or sustenance for al-haqq, making manifest all the perfections inherent in the divine names and attributes. Essentially, the existence and activities of the created world serve as the means by which al-haqq's divine names and attributes are brought to fruition and revealed.
Quote, "Then we are sustenance for him. He eats our being, as he is sustenance for the whole cosmos without a doubt. So he takes care of us as creation, and we maintain his wujud as God. You feed al-haqq with determinations, while he feeds you with existence. What is allocated to him is allocated to you. Thus, all things derive from him to you, and from you to him."
The interaction between al-haqq and the created world is described through this metaphor of mutual sustenance and manifestation. In Ibn Arabi's metaphorical framework, al-haqq serves as the sustenance or food for creatures concerning their existence. Just as human beings exist, subsist, and are kept alive by consuming food, creatures similarly rely on al-haqq for their existence and vitality. Reciprocally, al-haqq eats or is nourished by the properties of the phenomenal cosmos and the forms of the creatures. This means that the very existence of creatures is the means by which the names, attributes, properties, and relations manifest and become actualized in al-haqq.
The idea that al-haqq, understood as wujud itself, is the sustenance and nourishment for all creatures, is relatively straightforward and can be grasped even through common sense reasoning. However, the reverse of this proposition, suggesting that creatures are the sustenance for al-haqq, is less easily accepted. This view, of course, challenges conventional understanding and invites a deeper contemplation of the reciprocal relationship between the divine and the created world.
Quote, "By the means of subsistence, people are fed. When the means of subsistence permeate the one who is fed in such a way that every part of the fed person is permeated, food spreads in all the parts of the fed person. However, regarding God, there are no parts in him. Hence, he necessarily permeates all the divine stations which are called names, so that his essence is manifest through them."
The metaphor of food implies that for nourishment to occur, it is necessary for the food substance to penetrate and be fully assimilated by the various parts of the body. In the context of al-haqq, the condition of having parts is impossible, especially when understood in a material sense, as al-haqq is logically considered indivisible. However, Ibn Arabi introduces a spiritual interpretation of parts in the form of the divine names. In a spiritual sense, al-haqq does possess parts, namely the divine names. This perspective carries significant implications, suggesting that on the level of the divine names, al-haqq is thoroughly penetrated by creatures. In other words, it proposes that all potentialities and possibilities within al-haqq come into concrete existence due to the penetration of creatures into the spiritual parts, namely the divine names of al-haqq.
According to Ibn Arabi, everything in the cosmos has two aspects. The first aspect is intrinsic to the entity itself, representing its individual existence. Ibn Arabi refers to this as mawjud, or the human aspect, denoting creaturely dimension of each individual existent. The second aspect pertains to al-haqq within each individual entity, referred to as lahut, or the divine aspect. This signifies the aspect of al-haqq present and inherent within each existent.
The phenomenon of tajalli, or God's self-manifestation, is not a one-sided occurrence where al-haqq unilaterally permeates everything in the cosmos and manifests himself in the forms of the whole cosmos. Tajalli involves a mutual process where, simultaneously, al-haqq is permeated by the things of the cosmos. However, envisioning the things of the cosmos as substances penetrating al-haqq in a way that they are assimilated by it is considered absurd. To understand such a process, it is crucial to recognize that the interpenetration occurring in the tajalli is not a substantial interplay between al-haqq as an entity on one side and things as entities on the other side. According to Izutsu, it is a phenomenon of pure act on both sides. In other words, the interplay between al-haqq and the things of the cosmos in the process of tajalli is a non-substantial dynamic interaction characterized by pure activity.
Quote, "We belong to him as signs in us or show this, but we also belong to ourselves. He has only my being to manifest himself, for we belong to him just as we belong to ourselves. I have two aspects, he and I, but he has no I through me. In me he is manifest, and we are for him as vessels."
In Ibn Arabi's worldview, the term wujud is fundamentally and primarily understood as al-haqq himself in his dynamic aspect, namely as actus or pure act. In this context, wujud does not merely mean that all things are just there. Instead, it is deeply connected to the dynamic nature of al-haqq. Further, Ibn Arabi places particular emphasis on the concept of wujud as al-haqq qua actus when he associates it with life. In this understanding, wujud is intricately linked to the vibrant and active reality of al-haqq, highlighting a dynamic and living aspect rather than a static or passive existence.
Quote, "Know that the mystery of life permeates through water, since it is the root of the elements and foundations. For this reason, God makes of water every living thing. Everything in the cosmos is living, for everything celebrates God's praise. However, we can understand this celebration only through divine unveiling, kashf ilahi. Only a living being can praise. Hence, everything is living, and the root of everything is water.
According to Ibn Arabi, the symbol that best captures the essence of life is water. Water serves as the foundational element for all natural components, flowing and penetrating into even the whole world. Ibn Arabi sees the secret of life diffusing into water. In his view, everything in existence possesses a watery element in its very constitution, given that water is the most fundamental of all elements. The vitality of everything is attributed to the water it contains, and the varying degrees of this watery element correspond to the dynamic nature of al-haqq, which, as pure act, permeates and flows through all things.
In Ibn Arabi's perspective, the water of life, it as al-haqq, is an eternal flow that permeates all things.
Each individual entity is distinct and unique in itself, yet it is immersed within the shoreless ocean of life alongside all other entities. From one viewpoint, everything maintains its singular identity, but from another viewpoint, all individual identities dissolve in the continuous flow of the water of life that courses through everything. This dual aspect highlights the simultaneous uniqueness and interconnectedness of all existence within the shoreless ocean of life. Thus, both life and wujud flow and permeate through all things. While the aspect of wujud is readily apparent to everyone since all can observe that things exist, the aspect of life is not as easily discernible. This is not immediately accessible by all people, and the recognition of the vitality inherent in all things demands a deeper level of perception that transcends conventional awareness. To perceive that everything in the cosmos is alive requires a special experience of divine unveiling.
Water itself is life that permeates through the existence of all things, and immersing ourselves in water is a way of cleansing our existence, thereby knowing the true nature of existence. Thank you so much for watching. See you.